Welcome one, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how great crankshaft pulleys are outside of Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me on 394, holy shit, is Mr. Jimmy Holy Jet himself. How are you, Mr. Holy?
I'm doing good. I don't actually, right now, I'm not wearing any Holy apparel.
Wow, you're not over at the shop in your Holy jeans?
No, or my Holy sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Man, I have a sweatshirt that I've had at the shop since, I don't know, for like 20 years. I've had that a specific sweatshirt, and it's pretty funny because it's got all kinds of drawings on it, and it's got like barbed wire tattooed, Sharpie marks around on the sleeves, and
really,
it's got eyes on the back of the hood and stuff. So when you put your hood up, you've got eyes on the back of your head, and yeah.
Why have I not seen this sweater?
I don't know. It was my like going in the shop, gonna get dirty sweater for a long time, and then I think I've always kept the sweater, but I've you started wearing new old sweaters in place of that.
Gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I usually just use my my FR shirt now whenever I'm working in the shop.
Those are great. I welded with that the other day. It was fantastic. Nice. Thanks to the user or listener that gave us those. I can't remember who it was. I'm
pretty sure it was Florida Frank.
Was it?
I think so. If not, I apologize, but I thought it was Florida Frank. I still use mine all the time. There's a big old hole in it from where I've almost, I should have caught myself on fire, but instead I just burned a hole through the shirt.
That's impressive.
And then I caught my underlayer on fire. But shop time, man. I've got a grind coming up over the next month to get the 4Runner prepped for the suspension and axles. So we'll see how that goes. See if it all gets done before Rubathon at the end of June.
Yeah. After this episode and what we did out in Moab, I've got a few things that I need to take care of on Bobcat, which we'll discuss as we're going along. But before we jump into that main topic, I think we never did quite discuss what we were going to have for May. Are we going to give away what I won?
We could, yeah, we can do that.
Is that the game plan, or did you have something else in mind?
We could either do that, or we could give away a couple of MORRFLate pre-orders.
I vote for that.
You vote for that? Okay, yeah. Let's do that.
All right. Shall we take a pause and redo that?
No, we can just keep going. Okay. Because we're professionals. We don't need to edit stuff, Jimmy. The listeners get to listen to all the mess ups. Let's do a couple of the pre-orders for the new MORRFLate product coming out. So,
I'm excited to hear about this.
Yeah. I've been teasing and tantalizing people that this year, 2023, is going to be the year of big product launches for MORRFLate. We have a bunch of stuff that I've been wanting to do for a while. And we've just always, I'm running the company purely on cash flow, not bringing investors or taking business loans or anything. And so we've always been playing catch up with demand, and we finally are staying caught up with demand. And we have a little bit of extra funds now to dump into some new products that I've been really wanting to come out with, like the single tire inflators we did at the first of the year. We did the extreme tire, the rock and roll bags. We did those. Yes. Mm-hmm. We have 2 more products that are in production right now that are going to be fun. And then we just made a big breakthrough the week before I went out to Moab and officially put the big product for 2023 into production. Ooh. And that is what we are calling the PSI Pro compressors.
Okay. And what are those?
So it's a brand new compressor. Essentially it's the same platform as our 5.6 compressor and TenSix compressor, which is the single and dual cylinder monster behemoth compressors that we have, the portable ones. Except now we've added a control board to them that allows you to set the pressure of your air up.
What? So you can set how full you want the tires to get.
Yep.
So if I want to air up to 35 PSI, I just plug it in somewhere on my phone or on the compressor?
On the compressor. Okay. So we were playing around with some Bluetooth technologies, and there were some bugs with it that I think I'm still going to try and move forward with in the future, but this will be kind of the first iteration with the control board all solidified to the compressor itself. No Bluetooth involved. Keep things simpler so we can get this out in the market. And all you do is there's a plus and minus button on the control board. So you hit the plus and minus to set the pressure you want to go to, and then just hit the go button, and the compressor will air up until it reaches those pressures, and then it'll shut itself off and just kind of hang out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Combined with the MORRFLate quad hoses, the 4-tire hoses, it goes a little bit slower than the TenSix compressor, just because as it's going, it kind of shuts off every once in a while to check the pressure of the system, so that it can decide whether or not it needs to keep going to get to the desired pressure.
Sure.
So it does take a little bit longer than the TenSix, but we are able to do all 4 of the Bronco's 35-inch tires from 10 PSI to 40 PSI in 6.5 minutes. Whereas I think the regular TenSix takes like 5 to 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, so there's a little bit more of a time that it takes to compress, but now you really don't have to ever think about how full it's going to get or where am I at? Should I stop and check it? How do I need to stop talking to my friends and I need to go check my rig real quick before I overinflate my tires.
Yep.
Right. There's a level of less concern now that you don't have to worry about. It takes ever so slightly longer because there's a computer in there trying to figure things out, but now you don't need to worry about it.
You can literally just tell it to go, and then you can go off on a hike somewhere if you want to go fishing, do whatever, go take a nap, go make lunch, whatever, and then come back and your rig should be at your 35 PSI.
That's awesome. Cool. That's a sweet new thing.
Yeah, it's going to be freaking awesome. That technology has existed for a while in especially the 18 and 20 volt battery tools.
Okay.
And so we've taken that technology essentially and applied it to really high output compressors that are pretty much at the limit of what 4 tires can really accept at a time. So, 10.6 CFM, the PSI Pro compressors, and they are going to be retailing at $325, which is still just under just over half of what a twin ARB compressor is.
Okay.
I think twin ARBs right now are retailing around $610, $605, $600, something like that. So at $325, you get almost double the output airflow of a twin ARB and a set your pressure functionality out of it, which is pretty freaking cool. And so combined with the 4-tire hoses, the quad hoses, it's still all less than a twin ARB is.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Pretty cool stuff. We're going to do 2 of those compressors for the pre-orders.
Okay.
I believe as of when this episode airs, the pre-orders should be out and available over at MORRFLate.com. So we'll put that link down in the show notes if anybody wanted to get in on the pre-orders. We are not charging anybody anything up front because it's going to be roughly 2 months out. We're looking at the end of June for these compressors to land and being able to ship out to customers. But we will do 2 of them for May's giveaway here for the show. So
sweet.
Two of them, you'll get your spot in the pre-orders. It will take down a credit card number so that once your order is ready to ship, we can just hit a button, charge your card that you have on file, and ship it out. You don't have to take any more time delays on any of that. So that'll be really cool.
And that's if you're signing up for the pre-order. So all those that are interested in actually getting a compressor, even if you're in the giveaway tier, this might be a good thing for you to get into that pre-order. You can go over to MORRFLate. I'll get the email or the website and I'll put it down in the show notes once Tyler gets all that finalized.
Yep.
And you can click on that link, go over to the MORRFLate page and sign up for the pre-order.
Yeah.
And get in on that.
Yep.
Sweet.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we got that one. And we're probably going to be doing these in batches. I have a strong feeling that we're going to sell out the pre-orders before the production lands here at our warehouse. So we'll be doing multiple batches. So once the pre-orders fill up, we'll start batch number 2 and just keep going until we stay caught up with demand. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can reach out or just reach out to me or Jimmy, and Jimmy can get questions over to me as well through Instagram. You can reach us at 4x4 Toyota Tyler or Snail Trail 4x4, or you can reach out to the secretary who runs the MORRFLate Instagram at MORRFLate, MORRFLATE. So yeah, cool stuff. That's been in the works for a very long time. I've been keeping that one quiet because it is going to be a big change to the industry, I think, for off-roading. And so it's going to be fun to finally announce that and get that product out there to the world. So
yeah, I'm excited for it for sure. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So cool. So that's going to be May's giveaway. Let's see if this episode's coming out on Monday. Whoops.
That's
Monday,
May 1st.
May 1st. So you are officially, as of listening to this episode, you can no longer get into the giveaway tier. Hopefully everybody got everything sorted out that they wanted to get sorted out for April. If just a reminder, if anybody did move around tiers during April, to double check your subscriptions on your PayPal account, and you can manage the old tiers and cancel the old tiers so that you're not double or triple paying or quadruple paying like some people we found recently. So
absolutely. We do send emails out whenever we do notice that, and most people have responded to those emails and canceled their previous ones. Sometimes people aren't, but I guess if you do happen to stay into one of the tiers or two of the tiers, we do add you into the multiple giveaways options if you do choose to do that. So let's see, moving on. So yeah, we'll do the giveaway for April's product, which was, what was it? I lost it.
The 2 gift boxes. That's
right. The 2 gift boxes. We'll do those probably either a week from today or the following Thursday. The Thursday episode after this one's just a little too soon for Patreon. Those like 7 people that have stuck with Patreon, we should probably just boot them out by now. Who knows?
I know, right? We should just boot everybody out and shut it down.
We really should. Let's see. So sweet giveaway from MORRFLate. Thank you very much for May coming up. We do have some fun plans for, I think, we're running Tool Month in June. Is that correct? Is that our plans?
I believe it's either June or July. I forget which one. I think it's June though.
Yeah. I think we've done both months in the past few years. I think we did June and then we did July and then we did June. So we'll figure out what we're going to do. It'll be one of those. We got to talk to our friends that are going to give us some support, and get ready for that month. It's going to be a good one for sure.
Yes, sir. Let's see. We got voicemails, but we can do those on Thursday. Today's episode is all about our trip at Cruise Moab, which is the event that we went out to Moab for. So, I guess if you don't have anything else for housekeeping or anything to prelude for the episode, then we can just skip right into our campfire discussion, our main topic for the day. So go ahead and grab your favorite snacks, everybody. Grab your favorite drinks, and we'll be right on back with today's campfire discussion from Cruise Moab.
Are you tired of landing in potholes and bouncing off obstacles? To play at your full potential, correctly tuned coilovers allow you to float over the rocks and gain more traction. At 4-Wheel Underground, our full suspension systems include custom-tuned coilovers for your specific application. To learn more, visit 4wheelunderground.com.
Oh, welcome back, ladies, gentle ladies, all you cryptobiotic soil dwellers out there. Jimmy and I went out to Moab recently for the Toyota Land Cruiser Association's event called Cruise Moab. A really fun event. They put it on every year. The Rising Sun four-wheelers out of Colorado puts on this event as a fundraiser, mainly first and foremost for a Toyota Land Cruiser Association. And what they do is they take any of the profits of the event, so anything above and beyond the expenses of putting on the event, and they donate it to land use organizations. And so I know this year Blue Ribbon Coalition and last year BRC was on the donation list. And I believe there's a couple of other land use organizations on the donation list this year too, which is pretty cool. I think UPLA is one of them, as well as another one. I forget what the third one was, if there was. But so really cool event that the TLCA puts on for trail advocacy and just kind of helping to raise awareness and funds for keeping our trails accessible out there, which is something that, Jimmy and I are huge believers in. And so we love going out and supporting events like this. And it doesn't hurt that it's also with a bunch of Toyota people, Toyota nut jobs, and one Ford Bronco. So,
yeah. And even though it's a Land Cruiser event, they do let anybody in. It is kind of hosted by the TCLA, the Toyota Land Cruiser Association. But, they let the mini trucks in, they let the 4Runners in, they let the Broncos in and Jeeps in. Last year we joked about it, how our trail lead was a Jeep.
Yep,
guy driving a Jeep. We had a sponsor this year with a guy in a Ford Bronco, which is kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah, they do let anybody in. It is a fun time.
Yep. That guy got a lot of shit this year.
So, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it's a really fun event. Did you notice that like all of the rigs that they had on patches, stickers, t-shirts, none of them were Land Cruisers this year?
I know there were some Land Cruisers, but there were. Okay. Yeah. Like the t-shirt this year said Cruise Moab, and then it had a bunch of different pictures of Toyota vehicles on the front. Mm-hmm. Right. And smack dab in the center was a mini truck. Yep. Which I thought was funny. But then they had a bunch of different stickers that said Cruise Moab, and they had all those different pictures of the vehicles were on different Cruise Moab stickers.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the stickers I got all had mini trucks on them.
Oh, you got all the same sticker?
Pretty much, yeah.
Different colors?
No, I think it was one color. But
interesting. I got like 4 or 5 stickers, and they're all different vehicles.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think you just didn't pay attention enough.
Probably. I probably just saw the mini truck because I think the patch I got was a mini truck, and I saw a mini truck sticker. And then after that, I was like, oh, they're all mini trucks. And so I just didn't look at the rest.
Right.
That's funny.
They were stoked with us posing on tires last year.
I know, right? We didn't do that this year.
I did to some extent.
I guess you did on one of the runs. Yeah. And then I got heckled into doing it, and I backed down and ran away with my tail between my legs.
Yes.
Oh man. Yeah, no, it was a really fun trip this year. Getting out there. We talked about kind of our each of our trips leading up to the event, and kind of what we did in the days before registration. So if you guys want to hear about that and haven't listened to it yet, go back and listen to last Thursday's episode. I believe the episode before this one, 393. This episode here is starting with Wednesday morning, registration day, and going through when we took off and when we got home, and if there was any drama getting home at all. So yeah, man, where do we pick this off? I guess Wednesday morning, huh?
Yeah, we could start on Wednesday morning with the boredom of all of us sitting around a table drinking coffee and answering emails on our work computers.
Yeah, all of us working. Yeah.
All of us working until about 1-ish. I think Lee Lim showed up a little bit before around 10, and then took off to go do tech, and then came back around lunch. And then we all kind of hung out and ate lunch, and we're doing work until I think around 2, right? 2 was when tech started again. They took a break from 12 to 2.
Yeah, right around there. I know at some point, I don't remember when she came over, but one of the I guess the managers for the Airbnb came over, And turns out she was an off-roader.
Yes.
And so it was kind of fun sitting there and chatting with her about OHV in the Moab area and about business in the Moab area as well. We talked a little bit with Ben from Blue Ribbon Coalition a few episodes back now about kind of the business in Moab, and that businesses are almost down like 40% across the board. At least he said the hotels were down about 40% across the board this year. And that they're seeing a lot of that impact coming because more OHVers are not coming into Moab as in previous years. And he kind of made a comment that really stuck out to me, in that Moab is kind of starting to get a reputation of that they don't want OHVers there anymore. Mainly because of some of the decisions being passed by the city councils and the governing bodies there in Moab. And what we learned from talking with this lady is that for the most part, all of the locals are like a lot of them are off-roaders in one way or another, whether it's dirt bikes, quads, side-by-sides, 4x4s, whatever it is. And most of them, like 80-90% of the locals are all like, no, we need off-roaders here. They understand it. Like they see 2 million people in a year in Moab. And there's only like 3,000 people that actually live in Moab. So
yeah, there's a huge influx of tourism that they are missing out on because of this idea that's going around that Moab doesn't want off-roaders there anymore. And it's really hitting home to some of these companies that are there. And they're like, no, we want the off-roaders. I don't know where this is coming from. That the locals know what companies are interested in having the off-roaders, and the locals know which companies have signed the petition to try and ban off-roaders.
Yeah. They're starting to figure out which businesses are supporting the city council members that are imposing laws that are anti-OHV or laws that are, supporting SUWA and what SUWA is doing, the Southern Utah Wilderness Alliance, not to be confused with UPLA, which is the Utah Public Lands Alliance. And they're starting to put together public information to let the off-roaders that are coming into Moab to visit and are bringing in the tourism and the economy for, the 8 months of the year from March through October. They're trying to make that information more available so that those of us coming in and doing touristy stuff in Moab know which places to spend our money at while we're there, and which places, more importantly, to not spend our money at, so that we're not supporting those organizations that are supporting the SUWA efforts out there. So,
right. Or the backwards way of saying that is to give our money, spend our money at the places that are supporting us. Right.
Exactly.
And not give our money and not support the people that are against us.
Yep. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun talking with her and kind of learning more about kind of what the locals are feeling currently and how they're working on stuff. And recently, supposedly, they have overturned 2 of the anti-OHV seats in government recently. So hoping that gets turned around here in the future. And they're definitely feeling it in Moab right now. And the lady said, it's not just hotels. All businesses are down about 40% this year across the board. And so they're realizing that it's a problem, and that maybe being harsher to off-roaders is not the answer in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tyler did spend some time trying to find this paper or this form that showed which companies signed the bills or are with the councilman or against them. And we couldn't find it. Tyler couldn't find it. So if anybody out there has it or knows where it is and can get that to us, we would be more than welcome to share that on our sites as well, so that we could continue to support the off-road community. Yep.
And support the locals that 90% of them do want the off-road community there. So, I'd hate to see all those local families and people get hurt because of what a super, super minority, somebody who has a city council seat wants to see happen in the area. So, Yeah, let us know if you guys see that. I thought that was really fun. Getting to sit down with her and chatting with her for, God, we almost talked for like an hour about different things. So that was a lot of fun. I don't remember what day that was, but that was in the mix too before I think everything started. So
I think that was Wednesday morning.
Okay. That would make sense.
It was funny telling her what trails I was going on. And I said I was going on Rusty Nail, and she was like, oh, good luck. Like that's a doozy.
Yeah.
And then I took her outside and showed her Bobcat, and she was like, oh yeah, you're not going to have a problem. You're going to be fine. There's just one off camber spot, but otherwise you'll be all right.
Yeah.
So like it made me a little nervous. I won't lie. So, you know, her going like, you know, a local living there going, ooh, that's a tough trail. Like you're going to have a tough time. So that was funny. So let's see. Yeah, so we went to tech.
We did. Yep. Went to tech. How did your tech inspection go?
Mine was fun. I did all this work, right? I connected my reverse lights. I added an e-brake. I did these things that I failed on last year that they kind of like waved me through and were all kind of nice about it. And this time when I went to tech, the guy only had me do a very few basic things and then started asking me questions about my truck and how I did things and what, you know, am I running a doubler? And what transmission am I running? And is it still 22 RE under the hood? And then he's like, okay, yeah, you're good. Go ahead. And I was like, what? Like you didn't even check the two things that I fixed on purpose, you know,
for this event.
And I said I would have it, you know, I almost felt like, hold on, look, I have an e-brake.
Like, I need to show this off.
I need to show this. I failed the last 2 years, but now I've got one, and I said I'd have one, and I did it. But they didn't even check that, which it was funny. So, and I was telling somebody, I forgot who I was talking to, but I was like, I connected my rear, you know, reverse lights because that was an issue. And they're like, we don't even check that. I'm like, well, I've been checked before. And that was one of the things.
Yeah, that's funny. I had a similar reaction at my tech as well. I kind of pulled in, of course, in the Bronco, and they kind of looked at it and they were like, are you sure you're in the right spot? Exactly. Are you sure you're at the right event? The Bronco Fest isn't until the first week of May. And I was like, yeah, I'm here. No. I have a Toyota. I love Toyotas. I'm a Toyota fanboy. And they were like, okay. And this kind of ran through it. And more or less the dude was just kind of like, all right, let's check your blinkers. All right, cool. So how do you like the Bronco so far? Yeah. And it was pretty much the discussion went down that road from there. Like, I think the only thing he really checked was the blinkers. And
well, I think his logic was it's a brand new freaking vehicle. It's going to have everything working, where mine's like a hodgepodge of everything. They did check my blinkers, and my front blinker passenger side front blinker, I think wasn't working for some reason. I do think it is, but it doesn't have the cover, like it's broken. So I think he just thought it was broken. Like the glass on the front or plastic on the front's broken. Yeah. So I think he assumed, and he's like, oh, don't worry about it. You can do hand signals. I'm like, okay,
sweet. Yeah. So I thought it was funny. I did notice, I think it was new this year. I don't remember seeing it last year, but there was a spot on the tech form when you're filling out your information on it that says, I agree that everything on my vehicle is working as it should. And if anything is not working, that it's on me and not on Cruise Moab.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I did notice that this year, which I
wonder
thought
if that's because of your leaf spring debacle.
Maybe. I don't know. Probably from me rolling in Hell's Gate the first year, and then the leaf spring debacle last year, extending the trip 6 hours.
We're pretty famous now at Cruise Moab. I think this is the first year that we went that we didn't have an issue. Like we didn't cause an issue.
Yeah, we didn't cause an issue.
Yeah. Off trail is a different story.
Yeah. It was, after to that point, after I got through tech and I was going to park the Bronco to go up and check in with registration to get our registration bag and our swag bag and everything. Matt Farr saw me, and Matt Farr is, the chairman of Cruise Moab, and who our contact for the past few years for Cruise Moab getting in there. And he saw me in the Bronco and he goes, whoa, that's an interesting vehicle for you to be bringing this year. I was like, what, do you think I'm going to roll this one? He goes, I don't know if your record is anything to go off of. And I was like, thanks, Matt. So that was funny. And I got that, I think, from a couple people kind of going through registration. So it was, nice. That was funny.
Let's talk about the bags we got for the swag bags this year.
Yeah,
dude.
They're nice.
They are super nice. The bags we got last year are nice. They're a little big. They're a huge duffel bag. And I forgot the company name from last year's, but they're a waterproof kind of duffel bag. This year we got Adventure Tool Company bags, which are really nice. And I think they're the exact same bags that are made for the Factor 55, what do you want to call it? Recovery kits. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. I think they're the same bags for those, but they just put a Cruise Moab sticker on the front of them. So I'm super stoked to have another ATC bag in my kit now, because I have their tool roll and another accessory bag from them. And now I have this huge bag from them. So I think I'm going to start my collection with ATC.
Nice. Yeah, it's a really, really nice bag. I think when we had Justin from Factor 55 on the show, he talked about the ATC bag.
Yes.
And that they were using it for their recovery kits. And I'm pretty sure I did kind of go back and just look at the bag online from Factor 55 and their recovery kit bags. And it does definitely look like the exact same bag.
Oh, does it?
So
cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome little bag to put in whatever you guys want for having in your rig for trail days. They're beefy, very durable, very nice quality. So really cool bags.
Kind of a waxed leather. I don't know if leather's waxed canvas exterior. And then they have an inner lining as well. That's a thick, canvas, I guess, that's on the inside with a few pockets on it. Yep. And it's I don't know, it's the size of, I don't know how you want to say it, a small duffel bag. You could probably hold.
Yeah. It's like a, God, what are the, like almost like a laptop bag, like a tote bag that size, but without the shoulder strap. It's a little bigger than that though.
Yeah. But I like it. I think it's a great size. And actually I'm in a weird debate internally whether I want to use it as an actual duffel bag, like for clothes and things, or use it as a tool setup, because I have a Patagonia duffel bag now that I usually take out on it with events, but it's too large for like a day trip or an overnight, one night
single
trip.
Overnight thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Where this one it would still be a little large, but you're going to throw all your shoes and everything inside of it. It'd be a perfect size. So it might be my one night trip. And then if I do more than one night, I'll move up to my Patagonia. And if I do like a week long one, I'll use the duffel bag they gave me last year or something like that. So yeah, I don't know if I want to use it for tools and get it dirty or use it for clothes and keep it clean.
Yeah, that's fun. Cool, man. So yeah, those bags were sweet that we got. Kudos to Cruise Moab for making that connection and doing some really cool things for the swag bags this year and last year. It seems like they do it each year. Some really cool main featured product for everybody.
Yeah, I don't remember what our first year was. Do you?
No, that was the COVID year.
Yeah.
So
wasn't it something from Toyota? I don't remember.
I don't remember now. Yeah.
Or last year was Toyota stuff because it was the 25th anniversary, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. Maybe. So,
okay, moving on.
Cool stuff there at registration. Registration was smooth. Dropped off all my raffle items as well, all of our raffle items. So MORRFLate donated some stuff to the raffle. Snail Trail 4x4 donated some stuff to the raffle. Snail Armor donated something to the raffle. Did he?
No.
Oh, I thought you guys did a panel.
No. I would have if they would have separated the categories like they did the last year.
That's right.
Because last year they had, certain year trucks or certain year Forerunners and certain year Land Cruisers all sort of grouped together, whatever, third generation Forerunner, is here's some prizes for you. And if they would have done that, then I would have donated a panel for the Tacoma people. But
gotcha.
Since it was sort of this, now everybody was lumped together all in one, I didn't feel really like it was a good idea for me to give a Tacoma panel to a Land Cruiser event.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking of panels, a quick side tangent. You officially launched more panels, right?
I have, yes. I have officially launched new panels. They are released and on the website right now. The Gladiator and first and second gen Forerunners are out and released and out in the wild now. I've got a few people that have gotten in on that pre-order, so I appreciate those people that listen to the podcast. I gave you guys a chance for 50% off the panels. And we have gotten some cool designs out there, some really neat panels that have been released with some custom etchings. And yeah, if you're interested in a panel, feel free to check out snailarmor.com.
Cool.
Thanks for allowing me to plug it.
Yeah. I thought that would be a good spot. I don't think we had actually officially announced that they were launched and live on the website yet.
No, we didn't. I also brought prototypes to Cruise Moab of 60 series and 80 series panels.
Were you able to get those fitted up during vendor night like you were hoping?
No. There was a 60 series right behind me at vendor night, and I walked around to their vehicle, and they already had a panel on there. That looked, and they were the custom grill company, so I was kind of curious if they made their own panels. So I didn't want to harass them. Hey, let me test fit my panel on your guys' vehicle that you probably make your own panels on.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, yeah, I didn't do it, but I'll probably run over to Stellar Built and test fit those 80s up. And if there's anybody listening that's in the Sacramento area that has a 60 series, hit me up because I need to test fit that out as well.
Sweet. Cool. All right. So, the rest of registration day was, I think pretty straightforward. Let's see, when we left registration, when we went to registration, I went with Lee and he pushed every button in the Bronco, including the turn off, shut off button while we were in line for tech. And I was like, Lee, stop it. Get out.
Is that why you made him ride home with me?
Yes. I was like, I don't want you in here anymore. He tried removing the top while we were on the freeway. And I was like, Lee, stop it. I had to slap his hands a couple times. But so I ended up leaving tech without Lee, leaving registration without Lee. And what did you guys go do? Because I don't remember quite much else of Wednesday evening.
I don't really remember a whole lot about what went on the rest of that afternoon. Did we? I think we all went back to the house and relaxed for a little while. Did we go out to dinner that night?
We went and I think we picked up dinner and took it back to the house.
Is that what we did? Oh,
I think so. I think we picked up dinner and took it back to the house. Then we watched Da Vinci Code. Was that Wednesday night? Or was that Tuesday?
That was Tuesday night.
Okay. I don't remember what happened Wednesday night then. Must not have been that eventful.
Yeah, I think, it wasn't. I know a lot of people are still coming into town and, I don't remember. I don't think a whole lot happened.
Okay. So Thursday, the secretary and I had we had an earlier start than you guys did. And we went, up and did Dome Plateau on Thursday, which is a easier trail. It's rated 4 out of 10. In the Cruise Moab trail list. And so that was going to be the first trail officially kind of in Moab that the Bronco was going to be on. So I drove most of it, and there was a really cool, it's a really neat trail. It's definitely an easier trail. Like anybody with a stock 4x4 can do that trail just fine. If you have a low range, then that's really all you need for that trail. You don't really need any ground clearance. You don't need lockers for it. But there's some really cool stuff to see along the trail. And what I also really liked about the trail was that, I mean, it was definitely easier. So I was like borderline getting bored at times, but the stuff to see was spaced out just enough where like, as soon as I would start getting bored, we'd be stopping to look at something.
Okay. So cool.
It's really, I guess, the cadence of the trip, for lack of better words for it, is split up really, really well so that it's a nice, evenly split up trip and you're not spending like 2 hours sitting and then all of a sudden see a bunch of stuff.
Sure. Understood. Did the secretary drive it all that day?
She did, yeah. So at some point in the day, we switched over and she got to drive. And so I think I drove for 2/3 of the day and she drove for 1/3 of the day. And she did great. And there was a couple of spots where like people needed a spot to get up. And then she came through. So I was passenger at that point. I would jump out and help the people in front of us. And then she came through and I was like, yep, just put on the lockers and hit the 2 buttons on the dashboard. And then she just walked right up and everyone's like, man, she did so good with that. And I was like, yeah, she did great.
Yeah. She did a good job.
Yep.
She did what I told her to do.
Exactly. It's all the spotters.
Yeah. Right.
And so, yeah, there's a couple of fun little obstacles on there. There's one that's kind of like a gatekeeper to the trail that's not really difficult, but it's a steep incline for what I think most people, if you're not used to off-roading, would be comfortable with. But like with how much traction you have in Moab, it's really not an issue at all. It just looks intimidating. And then there's a couple of descents that you come down off of. Again, nothing really that's going to do any damage to the vehicle. I don't think there's that much risk of doing any damage to a vehicle, but they just look really intimidating if you're not used to off-roading in Moab.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But the Bronco did awesome. Never slipped a tire that day. It was super comfy to be in, because there's a lot of stretches where you are just kind of on dirt road for Dome Plateau. And so being able to be in an enclosed cab, with what we thought was air conditioning for a while. It was nice up until the air conditioning we found out was not working.
What? The AC doesn't work?
The AC does not work in the Bronco. Which I'm like, yeah, let's return it. And for me, that's the deal breaker for everything.
Yeah, for you.
Now, for some reason, the AC button, when you turn it on, it does not kick on the compressor. The AC compressor. The AC compressor only turns on when you hit the max AC button.
That's weird. So it's like a vent for AC.
Kind of. I think that for some reason back in the dashboard somewhere, I think that there's a wire that just didn't get connected in the assembly process. That's my guess, but we need to take it by the dealer and have them look at it.
Yeah. So, Clifford's AC is not working again.
Again?
Yeah. So I had Girl Mechanic fix it like 2 years ago. And then she's not really in business anymore. She's doing something else now. I was going to have her like, hey, you fixed this. Why is it not working? And then I took it to a local shop here and I had them fix it. And they put in a dye this time because nobody added a dye to it last time. So the dye will show if there's any leaks or where something's leaking. And now here we are a year later and it's starting to get warm. And now Clifford's AC is not working again. So I'm going to take it back to those people and say, hey,
what's going on?
You guys fixed this last year. You supposedly added this dye. What's going on? Why is the AC not working for the third year in a row for the most part? People, it must have an extremely slow leak is my thought, because people don't notice that there's a pressure change, and over the wind, from a year, from getting fixed to pretty much when it's starting to get warm again, it loses all its pressure or something. That's my guess. So
yeah,
I'm gonna have to take Clifford in for that. Yeah, I was cruising in on Tuesday at like 1:00 and it was getting pretty warm, and I turned on the AC. I'm like, no, I wanted to get colder. But yeah, so Dome Plateau sounded fun. It sounds like it was one of those like an easy day for an off-roading community, but it was a good sightseeing adventure.
It was an awesome sightseeing adventure. Like we went on another quote unquote sightseeing trail on Saturday for our trail run on Saturday. And it was definitely, I wouldn't recommend that trip. It's definitely has the same sights that Dome Plateau does. You get a little bit of everything. There's some historical things to check out. There's a really cool cave system to check out. There's some really good overlooks that you get to check out and get on top of and look out. There's a lot of everything on Dome Plateau. And it's an awesome day trip kind of thing. Pack a lunch, take it with you. Lots of areas and spots to just kind of get out and have a picnic with some really cool scenery around you and some really cool historical value around you too. So
yeah. Well, do you want to talk about Dead Man Springs, and I'll go into my day one, and then we could talk about our day 2 and then I'll close off with my day 3.
Sure. Yeah. Deadman Springs. Again, it's rated, I think, a 3, maybe a 3.5 out of 4, out of 10 on the Moab scale. So it's easier than Dome Plateau, and it definitely was easier than Dome Plateau. It was there's 2 main things to see with Deadman Springs. One is the springs, which is actually pretty cool. You kind of park up and then you hike up into this kind of offshoot in a little canyon. And there's this little spring right there. And I'm not entirely sold that it's a spring. I think it's more that because if you look up at the rock and the geography around you in that canyon, it's all formed like perfectly so that all the water runoff from rain, snow, whatever it is, comes and falls right down to that one little spot in the very elbow tip of this canyon. And it's so narrow that this canyon is that no sunlight ever gets in there. And any sunlight that does, from like the 1 hour a day that the sun is directly overhead, there's trees that have grown in that canyon. So it's providing shade cover to the whole thing. And I don't think sun ever gets down to the canyon floor there to dry out the ground. So I think that during water runoff, it just oversaturates the ground, and the ground never has a chance to really dry out. Because it never just dries out. So I would be curious to go back there like in August or September and see if it's still that saturated. And if it is, then okay, I'll give it credit that it's probably a spring there, but like there was no pool of water. There was no like singular point where it was obvious the water was coming up out of one spot in the ground.
So you think it's just leaching through all the rock throughout the times that it just soaks through over, all rainy season, it collects all this water, and then through the dry season, it just releases all the water into that little canyon? I
think so. Yeah. Okay. That's my theory.
Interesting. Okay.
So, but it's a cool spot regardless.
Yeah.
Cool spot to kind of see, and literally cool. Once you get down into that canyon, the temperature drops like 20-30 degrees. It's actually pretty neat. So that was fun. Deadman Springs itself was cool. And then we went up to a lookout that overlooked the Green River. And that was cool too. That's where we had lunch. And you could kind of see it was at the spot where the Green River comes through and then just does this giant loop. It's probably a 10-mile loop or something like that. And then comes right back next to itself.
Oh, cool.
And then goes downstream. So it's this really interesting feature where typically, in order for rivers to flow, there has to be an elevation change, right?
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting phenomenon where a river goes upstream and then makes this loop, and then its downstream is less than a quarter mile from itself.
It doesn't flow uphill.
I don't think it can't flow uphill, right?
Yeah.
But that's what's interesting about it, is that when it passes itself less than a quarter mile away, it has to be at a lower elevation. So it does this big loop and change, and less than a quarter mile away, it's at a different elevation. And there's like a canyon wall that's between the two.
Is this that famous picture?
No, it's not Horseshoe. No, Horseshoe Bend is a small bend but it's a similar feature. Just Horseshoe Bend is really contained. It's a very small turnaround in the river, turnaround spot, U bend in the river. Whereas this is a ginormous, 10-mile bend in the river.
Oh, wow.
But what's interesting is that there's a canyon wall in between the two river points. In other words, it's like less than a quarter mile away from itself. And that wall is eroding. And so it's only like half of the wall now compared to the elevation of some of the plateaus around it on either side. And so I'm like, another, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years, that river is going to be erode away that wall right there. And it's just going to make this big U bend, like another horseshoe bend right there. And all that 10-mile stretch of loop is going to be dried out riverbed, which is going to be perfect for OHV routes in like 2,000, 5,000 years. So
So anybody listening to this in the future,
yes,
go check out this area of the Green River.
Yep. So anyways, that was kind of cool to kind of see. And there were people walking out on the point. So we were like waving and yelling at them, and they waved and yelled back. So
nice.
From across the canyon. And that was pretty much Dead Man Springs. Otherwise, it was a very easy trail. I was a little disappointed at the pace the group was going. It was going fairly slow, which it should. It's a guided trail trip. Whereas I would have loved to have taken the Bronco and gotten to do more drifting and high speed stuff on that trail. So
yeah, that's sort of what Lee said about his Saturday, because he did 7 Mile Rim. And he's like, it wasn't a very hard trail. It's probably more difficult than the Bronco would want to do, but he's like, it wasn't a hard trail. I got denied on one hard line, and I did the other line, and I made it up. He's like, but our tour guide was going so slow and was stopping and talking about everything along the way. He's like, it just made it like 2 to 3 times as long. And he was, but I think that I've never done 7 Mile, and I don't even know what the rating is. But the way that they talked about that trail was that it was a very beginner trail, a trail that a lot of beginners would go on, because he was like telling people how to put their vehicles in 4-wheel drive. Like, here's where you want to stop, and here's where you need to, okay, let's all stop. And, I'll give you guys like 2 minutes, and we'll just engage our 4-wheel drives right here. And, make sure that you're in 4-wheel drive. And if you need to lock your hubs, you got to get out and lock your hubs. And then we'll continue moving in like 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes to do all this, It was like, wow, very regimented. I guess at dinner they were saying like, okay, we got a half an hour for dinner. At like 2:00 we're gonna leave or whatever. And I guess Morgan or one of them was still outside doing something at 2:00, and the guy just stood there. And he was like, all right, we're gonna leave at 2. And he's like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, let's go. And he's like, no, you still got stuff out. He's like, yeah, but I'm almost at the end of the line. The whole line has got to start before I take off. Like, if you start, you're the leader. If you started right now, I would be in my vehicle and ready to go by the time that the train caught up to, it was my turn to go. Yep. And the guy was like, just standing there like, you ready? How much longer? He's like, I need like 15 seconds. Like, okay, 15 seconds. Let's go. Just like, oh my gosh. Anyways, I wasn't on that trip.
Micromanager leader. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Yeah. I wasn't on that trail at all, but that's sort of, your trip sort of sounds like that one. Yeah.
A little bit like the trail leader wasn't, like, he was really cool. Josh and Sarah were awesome to ride with. Josh has a very dry, almost a dark humor personality. There was at times he was kind of saying stuff that I was like, oh, I could picture Forward and Dave saying this.
Okay.
Kind of personality. So that was a lot of fun. And he wasn't like super regimented at all. He was just kind of keeping a slower pace. And there was definitely people in our group that should have had a slower pace. I was the outlier for the group that wanted to go fast and wanted to play around with the Bronco and do some drifting and other stuff with it. So
sure.
What up, everybody? Hey, this is Jimmy Jet. Just letting you guys know that we're going to bust this episode up into 2 parts, an A and a B. If you didn't notice that from the title already, this episode did go quite a while, so we're just splitting it pretty much down the middle. This first section, you heard a lot about Tyler and his adventures on some of those trails. And then in the next episode, you're going to hear more of Jimmy's side of the story and some of the trails that he went on. And then we do discuss our Metal Masher MORRFLate sponsored trail as well. So I do appreciate you guys listening in. We always appreciate the feedback and the support that you guys give us. Once again, you guys, we are still waiting on the 500 review winner for that winch. It is, let's see, what was it? Username already taken 69420. Or 42069. I can't remember off my head, but if that's you and that's your iTunes account, then you need to get a hold of us ASAP. I think you only have about a month left before we start searching for new people. The runner-up's name was Joe Z60421, and if that's you, get in contact with us as well, because if username already taken does not message us, then you win the winch. Well, that's enough said for this episode, guys. Look forward to the next episode dropping tomorrow, possibly the day after. We'll see what happens. And like always, my friends, don't forget, keep growing.
I got one for you.
Ooh, I'm ready.
I just paid $100 for a belt that does not fit.
Okay, why?
I don't know. It was a huge waste.
Gotcha.